Hey guys, it's DJ Bro Money here. A few weeks ago, I competed at the New York Comic Con Win-A-Mat tournaments, and I brought Evil Eye True Draco. I went 1-4, and I'm going to do a little bit of a deck profile and then a booster unboxing. So a few weeks ago, they had the New York Comic Con Win-A-Mats, and it was about like $12 entry, single elimination, and just to give a little bit of back about me, I haven't played Yu-Gi-Oh since the GOAT format days. So quarantine came and I started picking up some cards, getting back into it, and this was my first experience with Remote Duels and my first time playing with real live people outside of something like Dueling Nexus. So this was a pretty big moment for me, and I thought it went great. And no, doing a little bit of a deck profile, and on somebody who went 1-4. What's the point? This is just more about like the current meta and as a returning player to the game, how things felt. And the reason why I tried to bring Evil Eye True Draco is only because I feel really comfortable playing the deck. I know it's definitely not a meta strategy, but I know a lot of people do hate the True Draco cards, and I thought Evil Eye was a good splash. There's a little bit of a net decking, right? There's a lot of deck profiles online already for this, back when Card at Demise was at 3. So this is a little bit of my take on it. And the deck obviously wants to go first, set up a little bit of a board, and control the game through floodgates and interruptions. And this is very much a dice roll dependent format. So give a little bit about my games before I wanted to go into the deck profile a little bit. I played 3 games against Infernoble Knights. I played 1 game against Eldritch, and the 1 game I did win against Dinos, which was a really good game. And I think once I go into the deck profile, you'll see it a little bit more, but it's very much a hand trap dependent format. I've read a lot about deck building advice, and they said, you really need to tailor your deck to either going first or going second. And if you're going first, you need to be able to set up a nice board, especially with something like floodgates, which are optimal. But if you're going second and you decided for going first, or your deck is really tailored around going first, you're pretty much going to lose. And with the Infernoble Knights, it really is hand ripped deck, and this just couldn't recover. Especially so, all 3 games I played the Infernoble Knights, I lost because really I'm not meaning any hand traps in this deck. There's a lot of hand traps in the side deck, and I'll go over some of my choices and whether they were good or not. But if I'm going to redo this deck, I'm probably going to redo it to pretty much incorporate more hand traps, maybe a little bit less floodgates, unless I know for sure I'm going first. So, going to do a little bit of a deck profile, talk a little bit about some of the matches as well, go a little to side deck, extra deck, side deck, and then pop open some booster packs. So each entry, you got 3 booster packs for entering, and you couldn't pick which packs you got. It looks like we ended up with Savage Strike First Edition packs. There's like no value in these packs right now. It looks like some of the other ones were like Chaos Impact, which I believe have Starlight rares. So definitely ended up with the short end of the stick here as far as the packs. And I did not win any of the Win-A-Mats. So the mat you're seeing back here is one of the limited edition Comic-Con ones that I ended up purchasing off Core TCG. I can't believe I'm doing a deck profile without having any of the cards in the correct order. So, hey guys, if you're seeing an edit, it's because I just attempted to do a deck profile video with my cards completely out of order. It's my first time really doing this, so apologies. So, back to the deck profile, right? I decided to run Evil Eye True Draco. So you're seeing I ran 3 copies of Surzeal, Watcher of the Evil Eye. This is pretty much the normal summon of your deck. It allows you to search for an Evil Eye card. So you're either searching for Evil Eye of Selene 90% of the time, or if you already opened with it, you're searching for the counter trap. I will say you want to be a little bit careful in this current format, because Ciphering Gear Gamma is definitely a card that everybody's running, and this is a prime target. So once you stop like the Surzeal, the whole Evil Eye part of the deck really falls apart. So it's very normal summon reliant, which is why we tried supplementing it with a little bit of a True Draco engine. But also, if you start using, the effect of Surzeal, Watcher of the Evil Eye, and add cards to hand, Droll is pretty common in this format. Ash Blossom is pretty common in this format. It just dies to pretty much all form of hand traps or interruption. So definitely something to keep in mind for. We also run one Dynamite Knight, the true Draco fighter. This card searches for the true Draco traps. And we have 3 copies of Ignis Heat, the true Draco warrior. This one searches for your true Draco spells. So the synergy in this deck is you would normal summon Surzeal, equip it with the Eye of Selene, and then you would open with one of the true Draco spell cards, which allow you to tribute summon a monster, and then you would get 2 monsters on board. And lastly, for the monster count, we are running one Dino Wrestler Pankratops. Just an amazing card going second. I know I said the deck's tailored for going first, but sometimes when you're gotta go second, this is just a great card to open with. Next, we're going to talk a little bit about the spells. We play 1 copy of Terraforming. The field spells are really important to this deck. So we run pretty much 2 sets of field spells here. We run Draconic Diagram, which is the true Draco field spell card. Definitely gets you into your engine, starts the ball rolling with things. And the other card we play 3 of, and because unfortunately we only run 1 Draconic Diagram because it's limited, but we run 3 copies of Eli, Domain, Pareidolia. This one's good because it allows you to search for an Evil Eye monster. So even if you have an Evil Eye monster on the field already, just getting another one into your hand, just if that one happens to be destroyed, is good. And also, because it's an Evil Eye card, you have to remember your sequencing. So if you top deck it for turn and you activate it, this does trigger the Evil Eye of Selene card, and it does trigger your Surzeal. So you will take 500 life points, and your Surzeal will gain 500 attack. And that does it for my little field spell cards. Next, we run 2 copies of Evil Eye of Selene. This is pretty much the heart and soul of the deck a little bit. It pretty much gives your Surzeal, becomes a towers on legs. It allows you to quick effect pop a special summon monster, which was great. During the Winamat, I faced a lot of players who really had the best of the best decks, and pretty much all of them were running Lightning Storm. So when they pop Lightning Storm, you had the option of either destroying your back row, which was usually all floodgates, or destroying your monsters, which if they went for the monsters and you had your Surzeal equipped with an Evil Eye of Selene, they weren't destroying all the monsters on the field. So it really gave them a difficult choice, and I think I won a game off of somebody trying to Lightning Storm Surzeal and then it still living. And I was able to do the quick effect pop during their combo and really interrupt things. That ends it for the Evil Eye spell cards. Next, we're going to go over the True Draco spells. We run 2 copies of True Draco Heritage, and we run 2 copies of Disciples of the True Draco Phoenix. I think this is correct, only because we're running a small True Draco package. True Draco Heritage allows you to draw deeper into the deck. Disciples of the True Draco Phoenix allows you to recycle resources. So it's important to get both of these cards running in rotation during your turns, which is great for the grind game. But unfortunately in this meta, there's not a lot of grind game to be had. So when I did have grind games against a deck like Eldritch, this was great to just get the card economy recycling. Against the dinos, if you didn't get blown out in the first turn, this was great to just establish dominance in the later rounds. I'm going to end it for the True Draco spell cards. And then we're going to run up like a bunch of 1-ofs and draw cards. So we run 3 copies of Pot of Duality. This just allows you to get deeper into your deck. You see, we're really only running a really small monster count. I believe, by all accounts, this is like an 8 monster card deck. So you really need to draw in a little bit deeper if you don't find any of your monster cards. You also run an Upstart Goblin, create a 39 card deck. This is probably the one card I sided out a lot of the time, because if you're running into the 3rd round or you're running to the 2nd round and you're close on time, you really don't want to be giving your opponent 1,000 life points. We're not clearing the game in 1 turn, so we kind of take your opponent's life points turn by turn. So Upstart would have given my opponent the game in a few times where we got into that round 3 and at the time. I also run 1 card of Demise, Just allows you to draw deeper into your deck. The deck is 8 monsters, right? So you're not drawing a lot of monsters, and you're drawing a lot of spells and traps. So this allows you to get deeper into your deck, and then you just set or activate your spells and traps, and really just start to thin deck a little bit. Some big cards, right? The last spell we play is Dimensional Fisher. Unfortunately, it's limited. We can only play one, but this is great when you're actually able to draw it and get it onto the field on turn 1. A lot of decks really don't like their monsters being banished. And this also acts as a continuous spell, so to the event you summon, you start with no True Draco spells or traps, and you have a True Draco monster in hand, you could tribute Dimensional Fisher, bring it out, but it is going to eat up your normal summon, which is something the deck doesn't want to do unless we're summoning Surzeal. So that's going to end it for the spell cards. Now we're going into traps. So this is a very trap-heavy deck, which is why I think I did so badly, because this format really isn't adept to trap-heavy decks unless it's something really oppressive or controlling. But there's some games where, especially against Dinos or against Dinos or Eldritch, where I flipped the floodgate and they just scooped and said, hey, let's go to game 3. Anyway, so for the trap cards, we run 2 Evil Eye Retribution. I sided this card out a lot because it's slow, right? Your trap cards are slow. So you never want to see this in your hand when you're going second. But it is really good counter trap, right? I think in reality, it's a searchable counter trap, which is good. So it makes your Surzeal always live, right? If you have an Evil Eye Selene already in hand, you can search for this field spell, which probably isn't going to give you any pluses. Or you can search for this one, which gives you a form of interruption. But like I said, I sided this one out a lot, going second. We also run 1 True King Return, and then 2 True Draco Apocalypse. So these cards are just great. Kind of consistent with the ratios, right? Like 2 True Draco spell traps, and then we can only run 1 True King's Return. This is great just to get a monster back on board, and True Draco Apocalypse is just amazing at, permanently cutting your opponent's monsters attack in half. So there's some games, right, where they're going to attack, you tribute one of your face-up True Draco spells or traps, or a True Draco monster. The attack of all the monsters on the field on your opponent's side of the field become half, and you live another turn. And also, so when you tribute the True Draco trap card, you get to destroy a monster, and this activates on a second chain, or a separate chain. And then if you tribute the True Draco spell or traps, you get to destroy a spell or trap card on the field. Unfortunately, there's some synergy right in this deck where, because Evil Eye Selene forces you to destroy a spell or trap on each standby phase when you activate Surzeal's ability. So there is some synergy in being able to pop your face down True Draco cards, and then on a separate chain being able to destroy your opponent's monsters or spell and traps. Then we ran 3 Solemn Strike. If I was a little bit richer, I'd probably run Imperm. Definitely would have been a better option. The reason why I chose Solemn Strike over Solemn Judgment is because this deck really just diminishes your life points by Surzeal losing 500 or almost 1,000 life points every turn, which Solemn Judgment is going to cost you half your life points in the beginning. I probably would toy around with the idea of running a Solemn Judgment though, because there's 1 or 2 games where I got blown out by an Evenly Matched or a Lightning Storm, and I didn't have like Surzeal up, and I didn't have the counter trap available, and it just pretty much blows you out because you can't counter those. Then we're going to the Floodgates. We run 2 Lose 1 Turn, we run 2 Summon Limits, and we run 3 There Can Only Be Only 1. So this is great. I think this is the right ratios on things. So I flip Summon Limit on the Dino player during game 2, where he special summon Baby, Link Baby off into Link Karibo. I flip Summon Limit. He just scooped right then and there. And then There Can Be Only 1 was great against the Eldritch matchup because I was able to think that I wanted to keep their Eldritch trap cards on the field, but I didn't want their Eldritch monster hitting the field. This really helped restrict what the opponent was able to do. And also, this There Can Be Only 1 really messes with one of the popular hand traps in the format, Psyframe Gear Gamma. You can't Psyframe under There Can Be Only One. So I actually end up winning the game off the Eldritch player through There Can Be Only One. Summon Limit won me a game off of the Dino player. And then Lose One Turn also put in some work against a lot of the Infernoble matchups, just because it negates your opponent's monsters that are special summoned. This deck doesn't really do any special summons outside of Dino Wrestler Pankratops, or if you're bringing something off of the True Draco trap card. But these floodgates really put in work. If the format was a little slower right now, I could totally see these being more impactful. But unfortunately, with how fast things are, you really get blown out if your opponent's going first and hand rips all the cards from your hand and they're playing Infernoble. Especially in this deck, you're not really playing any hand traps. So that's going to cover it for the main deck. I'll quickly go over the extra deck. It's really not that great or spicy. I'm just running a Super Poly package. I'm running one Zerziel, Rule of the Evil Eye. Never even went into him. This is great if you're running the Evil Eye spell card that creates tokens. Evil Eye Remembrance, I believe, but we're not running that one here, so you're almost never going to summon him. I'm running 2 Gorgon, Empress of the Evil Eyed. I tried going into her one game and got Solemn Striked, and then I didn't go into her at all any other time. Just a little bit slow, and it's not worth losing your Zerziel for a Gorgon. Then we play, like I said, pretty much a Super Poly board, so I'm going to run through these just really quick. Protoplant Elemental here, Escudario, Chimera Attack, Michael Fleet Dragon, Solomon Great, Violet Chimera, Boral Load, Furious Dragon. I ran 2 copies of Mud Dragon of the Swamp. I ran 2 copies of Starving Venom Fusion Dragon. I ran 1 copy of Invoke Kaliga. If I had Makaba, I probably would have used Makaba instead, but I don't. And an El Shadal Winda and El Shadal Construct. I really wasn't too sure how the meta was going to shape up because this was supposed to be a more casual event, I thought. So I was expecting to see a lot of Dragon Link, which is why I sided these in. If I saw some rogue players playing Hero, you have Elemental Heroes cards, some Cyber Dragon cards, you don't even need Super Poly. Probably would have played an Earth Golem Adignister if I had it and cut down on some of these duplicates. And I knew that the new deck Dogmatica just released, so I thought I was going to see a lot more Dogmatica Invoke Shadal, which is why I sided these in, but I didn't see any of those. That's going to cover it for the extra deck. And I think the reason why I really wanted to do this deck profile is more to talk about the side deck, because I think that's really where the game 2s were won or the game 3s were won. So on our side deck, I play Harpy's Feather Duster, 2 copies of Cosmic Cyclone, 3 copies of Dimension Shifter, 3 copies of Drill and Lockbird, and then 3 copies of Super Poly. So Drill, this is only a 12 card extra deck. So there's actually cards missing from here. I did also play triple copies of Nibiru. I believe it's in another deck right now. 1 second. Toying around with another deck idea right now, and I was using it. We have triple copies of Nibiru. And this was my side deck. The cards I kind of sided in the most were going to be these 3. I think I might have sided in Harpy's Feather Duster against the Eldritch player, or at least Cosmic Cyclone, because you do want to banish the opponent's Eldritch trap cards. But I thought Droll was going to be really good against the Dragon Link players, which I played none. And then I did side in Droll every time I played Infernoble. It did not stop them. I sided in Nibiru for pretty much every matchup except the Eldritch one, I think, because Infernoble summon, Dino summon. This was clutch against the Dino game I played. He miscellaneous sourced in main phase 1, attacked and poked for some damage, and then in main phase 2 tried going off. But miscellaneous source only protects in main phase, the main phase that you banish it. So I was able to Nibiru and really wipe the board clean, and it turns into a little bit of a top deck war. Dimension Shifter, I side every single game. It's a really underrated hand trap, this format. This deck doesn't really play around it that well because there's synergy with getting your True Draco spell and trap cards into the graveyard. If they get banished, there's no effect. So I kind of lost synergy there. But I thought that when you did drop a Dimension Shifter, it completely just ended the opponent's turn. So when I was playing against Dino, I believe this was game 3 or game 2. Yeah, definitely game 3, where he was going first, and he activated True King Lithosagem, and it activates in hand, and you have to pitch 2 cards from hand to grave. It's not his cost. And I was able to chain Dimension Shifter, and it just completely shut down the turn. He lost any of the hand resource advantage he was going to get from his baby and the miscellaneous source that he was going to pitch. And yeah, just completely shuts things down, combined with Nibiru. So I think from a side deck, this is probably spot on. I thought I was going to use Super Poly more, and I didn't. But I almost sided in every single card you see here except for Super Poly, I feel like, depending on the matchup. And what I would really do is I would side out Dino Wrestler. I sided out in the Dino matchup. I would side out 1 or 2 Floodgates. And then I would side out Solemn Strike pretty much every single game, game 3, where I was stuck going second. Or game 2, where I went first, I sided that out. Evil Eye Retribution, I would side out. I would side out Upstart Goblin pretty much all the time as well, because I didn't want to give my opponents late points in time. And then I don't think I ever sided out Field Spells or Monster Count. But I think heading into any other competitive event, and I'm still using this deck, I probably will side out some of the trap cards more, and then just play more main deck hand traps. It's unfortunate, given the speed of the current meta. That's what I need to do. But if you lose the rock, paper, scissors, you're 90% screwed every single time, because there's no way you're winning game 1 against Infernoble or Dragon Link and the boards they set up. It is good that this board doesn't really use the extra deck that much, so the Buster Lock isn't as effective. But you're not winning the game in blowout fashion. You're really grinding away your opponent. So that's about covers it for the little bit of the deck profile here. Put these away and do a quick Savage Strike pack opening. I'm brainstorming other ideas right now to use, other decks to play. I probably am I'm currently building Sky Strikers, good going second deck. I'm also building my Generator Numeron deck, which I would feel comfortable taking. But especially as your first game, my first event playing Remote Duels, I wanted to play a deck I felt comfortable knowing all the interactions with. And that's really where I thought I shined here. So, without further ado, just a quick pack opening. Not expecting to get anything of real value out of here. Everything here was reprinted in the Mega Tins. I think I have pretty much whatever I'm looking for. But who doesn't love the good pack opening? And I'm really out of practice with opening packs, so bear with me. Yep, already scuffed one up. Gonna open them up differently. They're Prank Kids, Roxy, Salamander Great Para, Update Jammer, Guard Dragon, Pitsty, and then a Dark Factory of more production, and then a few commons. So I think what I'm gonna do is I'll put the rares over here, the commons over there, and then any special stuff I happen to draw. Like I said, I wish this was something like Chaos Impact, where the hasn't been reprinted, or if it has been reprinted, there's an option for at least collector's rare. Yeah, I am definitely not opening these correctly. Okay. Just gonna throw the plastic off to the side. Castle makes Shinobi Necro, Guard Dragon Core Awakening, another Shiranui card, and then Ghost Meets Girl, a Shiranui story. Ooh, ultra rare. And then a rare Rocket Synchron, Incantation. Shiranui cards definitely look interesting. It's not a deck I've researched. The Guard Dragon stuff I definitely have. We got TG Tank Rub, Shiranui style, Guard Dragon, and then a Fateful Hour, and then a Cyverse Synchron, and some additional comments. I believe we are on pack number 3 here. Find out how to edit. Maybe I'll speed this up in post-production. We got Time Thief Bezel Ship, Power, and a Shiranui Squire, and a Solid Man Great Violet Chimera. I would never buy packs back in the day, because you never had a foil. It was almost impossible to pull foils back then. I remember as a kid just spending tons of money and never pulling anything worth of value. And now as an adult, you could just go on TCG Player and pick up the cards you need. It's really been game changing. Like the MSRP on each of these packs is what, $4? And we pulled approximately $1 maybe worth of cards. Got Cyberse Integrator, Time Thief Redoer, Shiranui Swordmaster, and another Fateful Hour Shiranui card. Another Rocket Synchron. Ooh, Orcus Nightmare. So we opened one card greater than a super. When I entered the tournament, I really thought I'd be winning OTS packs, which I would have loved to have, but none of that here. Shiranui Sword Side. Oh, Borreload Savage Dragon. Okay. If only this card wasn't reprinted. It used to be a solid $50 card before it was reprinted in the Megatents. That would have been a great pull, but I do already have my secret rare Prismatic. I believe that was my timer interrupting this. Going to get right back into it. Probably would have been the greatest pull had the Megaton not just come out. Neospace Connector, Lost Time, Shiranui Solitaire, Thunderclap Monk, and ooh, Incantation Shallow Slime. Probably one of the best rares you could pull, as it wasn't a card that was reprinted in the Megatents. And with the Drytron support archetype coming out, there's a lot of ritual hype right now. So definitely a good one to be pulling. Thunderclap Monk looks badass. Not played in any Thunder decks, or I mean Thunder Dragon decks, but like trying to be extra careful opening these up after what happened to the first one. Para, Guard Dragon, Child's Play, and World Legacy Guard Dragon. Okay, another really good pull if it had not been reprinted. I remember spending, I want to say $10 a copy on that one before it was reprinted, and I was able to pick them up at, I want to say $3 a copy for my Rocket Dragon Link deck. If I have a Dragon Link deck, why didn't I play Dragon Link? Because I do not have Link Ross. And Martial Metal Marcher. Definitely the cards you need to be playing if you're playing Dragon Link to do the whole combo. And I didn't have Needle Fiber at the time either. So now that I have it, the deck is coming on a little bit more. Card Dragon. And next would have been a great card for my Neospatian deck. As you can tell, play a lot more casual decks, but I consider myself a competitive player, so I definitely do want to pick up some more meta cards. Next card purchase is definitely going to be triple copies of Imperm. I think I have my Actus Code Talker coming on the way for my Sky Striker deck. Again, another Shiranui card. Prank Kids Roxy, Update Jammer, and Elemental Hero Cosmo Neos. Already have these deck. We're coming up to the last 2 packs. So there's been 12 cards opened. I've pulled 3 ultra rares so far. If we were looking at ratios and this was a box, I would have probably guessed there's a secret in the next 2 packs. But let's see, these are loose packs. Shiranui Spectral Sword Shade. Solemn Great Sunlight Wolf. And we're coming up to the last pack. See if I can pull something greater than an ultra rare. Shiranui cards look so good. I heard they're actually really good in Duel Links, but I don't play Duel Links. And the last pack, TG Tank Rub, Guard Dragon, Neospace Connector, and Guard Dragon Argipane. Oof. That's going to do it for the pack opening and the deck profile. Thanks everybody for tuning in. DJ Bro Money signing off.